jobs to the Ulaanbaatar city. And these two figures shows some graphs which shows the number of people migrated to Ulaanbaatar city from 2009 to 2019, and second figure shows the livestock mortality for every year. It's in 2010 we had very big zoot happen there, and since then the livestock mortality is not decreasing at all. And because of this zoot situation, and Ulaanbaatar has facing challenges with the internal migration and following issues. That's why we wanted to implement this project in urban area. To support the families who lost their livestock to the zoot and seek alternate employment, wishes to change their current employment situation and to improve their livelihood. And our project goal is to improve the resilience and livelihood of the family who migrated from rural to urban, rural to Ulaanbaatar city. And we targeted 30 families from the mostly populated district areas, and the families who lost livestock to the zoot and come to Ulaanbaatar city to seek a job and improve their livelihood. And then we started our project last November and ended the project in the March. And main actions we took is, firstly, we have selected the families from the mostly selected 2 districts, named Painzur and Sangyeonharong. And it was really difficult to choose the families actually, because there were so many families who are requesting to enroll in the projects. And then we put some criteria for them. For example, the families who has like big number of members, and then with the small children, with pregnant member or people with disabilities, something like that. And then also they should seek a job, or they're willing to have some businesses by own and something like that. And then after we selected the families, we have organized the disaster risk assessment. Because why we conducted this disaster risk assessment? Ulaanbaatar city is since 2016. Ulaanbaatar is declined to register new internal migrants to Ulaanbaatar city, and even it's forbidden to register the internal migrants, and families still coming to Ulaanbaatar city, and they are living in the unallowed places, and also risky places to the disaster, any kind of disaster. So we have visited to the families and conducted disaster risk assessment to their families, and then we have conducted the disaster risk reduction and resilience training among them to improve their knowledge for the disaster and disaster resilience, and then they made their own risk assessment for their home, and then they tried to improve their life situation, especially related to the disaster risks. And then we have organized business management training, which including the business management things, and have to write some proposal for management, have to run businesses, have to start some business startups, something like that. And then we have supported families on their startup businesses. We have run a small competition among them, and then we have granted 4 families to start to support them to start their own businesses. And then also we have supported to the families who has some problems and challenges with their documentation. Because of the documentation issues, they couldn't receive any kind of like public services because they are still registered at the rural area, and then they couldn't receive any public services from Ulaanbaatar city, for example, like health services and educational services for their children. And then we have supported them with their documentation. And here I've just mentioned that 4 big achievements. We have supported to 162 family members who directly reached by our project activities, and 30 participants from families enrolled in the training on disaster risk reduction and business management and improved their knowledge on this area. And 22 families received support on their documentation, especially on their identification card or birth certificate or marriage certificate and other documentation related to their issues. And then 4 families were supported by livelihood grant. And there were 17 submissions to our grant submission, and we have supported to 4 families out of 17. And then also I would like to mention that also our capacity to implement the project, especially the project related to the migration issues, were improved as a like national society. And here our for families who received the small grants from the project. And first one was the Mongolian Eco Toys project for making the Mongolian traditional toys and raw wood carving. They bought some carving equipment for their wood carving, and now they are making some Mongolian Eco Toys, and also making some furniture. For example, this kitchen furniture in the picture. And second project was named Vegetable, and this project for vegetable production, and the family who has some experience on planting the vegetable has received this support. And then now they are during the summer they planted these vegetables. And yeah. And third one is the Mandak project for sewing and tailoring. And Mandak, she is the very strong woman who has the children with disability, and then she is like inviting the other moms, other dads who has the children with disability to make some sewing and tailoring businesses together, and then they started their businesses with the support of our project. And then fourth project is named Nanding, also for sewing and tailoring. This strong woman has this girl with disability and living with the girl with disability, and then she started her small business with our support of our project. Yeah, and lastly, we have learned the many things from the project, and I mentioned also 4 points. And first one is to be prepared for the emergencies and have a big plan. Actually, beginning of our project implementation in Mongolia and Ulaanbaatar city, there were the internal outbreak of coronavirus is started, and we the lockdowns and quarantine was started during this time. So it was really hard to run the project activities during the lockdown and quarantines. And so we have started to work online, and also we should be prepared to work online. Technically we should have good equipment and working knowledge on work online. So yeah, and then prepare more volunteers to work in this field, especially during this emergency situation of coronavirus, because we should work in this situation with the personal protective equipment and other things. So we should prepare more volunteers on that. And then expand the cooperation with governmental or non-governmental organizations to cooperate in this area. So we are working in the area especially related to the internal migration and its issues. So we should improve our cooperation with the governmental and non-governmental organization to have more impact, to reach more impact. Yeah, this is the lessons we learned from this project. Yeah, and that's all from my side. And I want to show one or two videos we have prepared during this project, and from the small businesses. And if we have a time, please show us the videos, Lucy and
thank you so
Catalina.
much. Wonderful. Yes, videos on the way.
Thank you.
Намайг даваасрынгийн хандмаа гэдэг. За би тархинаас ажилтай охинтой хоёулаа амьдардаг. Анх 13 онд Улаанбаатар хотод орж ирээд ажиллах ямар ч боломжгүй учраас гэрээр юу хийх боломжтой гэж бодоод өөрийнхөө бас ур чадварыг ашиглаад оюутал хийж эхэлсэн. Тэгээд эхний ээлжинд ингээд өөрсдийнхөө хэрэгцээний хувцас охин бид хоёр өөрсдөө хэрэгцээний хувцас авч эхэлсэн. Тэгээд явцын дунд бас энэ мэрэгчлэрээ бас ингээд өргөжүүлээд ажиллах боломжтой байна гэж ойлгоод тэгээд зарж борлуулж эхэлсэн. 2-3 жилийн өмнө хамгийн анх тор эхэлж хийж зарж эхэлсэн. Тэгээд тор маань айгу гүйлгээ сайтай байсан тэр үед. Тэгээд тороо эргэлдүүлж агаад би энэ жокей машиныг орлогоороо баасан гэж худалдаж авчихсан. Тэгээд сүүлдээ хүүхдийн байрвч нөгөө хэрэгсний машингүй учраас дандаа битүү оюутлыг сонгоод за байрвч байж болох юм байна, хүүхдийн мак байж болох юм байна, битүү оюутлтай өмд байж болох юм байна гэд тэгээ би дандаа энэ битүү оюутлтай оюутлуудыг сонгоод хийчихсэн. Тэгээ явцын дод ингээд ойжэтэл одоо улаан зааgal маань нийгэмлэгээс надад хэрэгсний машин нэг шулуун оюутлын машин өгсөн. Тэгээ одоо надад яг би нөгөө хүсчихсэн хэрэгснийхаа машиныг бас ингээд надад өгсөнд баярлж байгаа. Тэгээ цаашдаа миний амьдрал бас ингээд бас орлого маань нэмэгдээд бас ингээд хөгжин дэвшигтэй миний амьдрал бүр улам бас сайжрах байх гэж бодож байна. Миний амжиргаа дэмжих энэ төслийг маань улаан зааgal маань нийгэмлэгээс хэрэгжүүлж өгсөнд бас маш их баярлж байна. Тэгээд өшөө бас олон хүмүүст ийм төслийг бас хэрэгжүүлээсэй гэж бас миний зүгээс хүсэж байна. Тэгээд та бүхэндээ болон улаан зааgal маань нийгэмлэгийн ханд бүгдээрэнд нь талархснаа илэрхийлье. Баярлалаа.
Thank you for sharing that video with us, Ndram.
Thank
You can
you.
really see how impactful this project has been. And Undram has shared other videos with us. That was a sneak peek. We are going to upload those videos onto the Urban Hub YouTube channel where you can watch them in full. And we are also going to share the wonderful simulation video from the Sindh branch, Pakistan Red Crescent, in the chat, because unfortunately time is just moving too quickly. We have, 10 minutes more, give or take. So I would just like to open this up to questions and invite you to turn your cameras on, raise your hands, write in the chat. Catalina, do you mind checking the Mentimeter as well to see if... Go ahead, Undram.
Yeah, I saw the question from the chat box from
Subendu.
Yes, Sabendu. Sorry, the name was quite hard to spell. And in the vegetable project, I can see that there is a greenhouse, what is also funded. Yes, the equipments related to their businesses, it's all of them is funded by the project. For the vegetable project, the greenhouse and the plants of the seeds of the some vegetables and some plantings also were funded by the project. And also the equipments like sewing machine and tailoring machines, and also equipment for the for this wood carvings also funded by the project. And another question is related to also this vegetable project, about the land for the vegetable project. For this, it's not funded from our side, but we have created good cooperation with its local government, and then we have suggested to find the land for this vegetable place, and then the local government, they supported us to find the land for this project, and we have improved good cooperation in relation with the local government. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Sajad, I see you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy. Undram, congratulations. You guys have a very different project, and with the very...
Thank you, Sajad.
Is especially very difficult to achieve successes, but you have some, so that's very good. I have
I think we lost you briefly. You mind repeating your question? Or possibly typing it in the chat, Sajad? It's difficult to hear you. Because you're now muted. Maybe that has something to do with it too. In the meantime, I invite colleagues to raise your hand, ask some questions. I'm looking for someone who's not Subendu, since Subendu, you already got a question in, but if no other colleagues raise their hand, then I will give the mic to you. Sajad, you're back. Go ahead. Okay, maybe you can type it for later. And Subendu, over to you.
Sure. Yes, he's there. So that is there. Okay, so I have very quick, first I should give a big applause and thanks to both Undram as well as Sajad. And indeed, just this question is again back to Mongolia, specifically the implementation which Undram has done, or Mongolian Red Cross has done. It is really very empowering. I'm quite glad to see the impact of success. My question to both Undram as well as to Lucy: do you have any plan for the scale of this project? Because this is such a very economic empowerment program, and is there any plan to scale up? I mean, from 22 to more than more number of household or families. Basically, scale up. You have a plan to scale up this. Yeah.
This was also going to be my question to Mongolia Red Cross as well as to Pakistan Red Crescent. You know, in the Mongolia Red Cross video, we see that Kandma says she wishes more people could benefit from projects like these. In your case for Mongolia Red Cross, I was wondering, and given the lessons learned about cooperation, especially with government, if there's room for that level of scale and connectivity through social protection programs, or how else you're planning on indeed scaling up this work. For Pakistan Red Crescent, I will also give you the same question in terms of if you have any future plans to really scale up these ERF nodes throughout Karachi. Thanks both.
Thank you. So for our national society, we have established state and Red Cross cooperation at the national level and also local level since 2016. And then since we do have this kind of cooperation with the local government, we have used this, and then we had a good cooperation with the local government and also its agencies like social protections and welfare and education and health department, something like that. And then using our cooperation, we have requested to have some land and other things. So in the future, we of course we will expand this cooperation in this field, especially in this internal migration issues and urban resilience activities with the local government to support the families who migrated from rural to urban area without to find some job and to improve their livelihood in Ulaanbaatar city. So yeah, that's from my side. Thank you.
That's really good to hear. Big announcement. We can finally see Sajjad, your face. Welcome. Good to see you. I'm so glad that our participants get to know the man behind the presentation. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Because I told you already that my camera, my mobile was not working. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. The question from Lucy. Yes, we established this emergency operations center in 3 different layers. So initially we had no application or the software to bring in all the information on screen so that all the people related to operations, they can see, they can add, and they can update things quickly and instantly. So we have spent a lot of money on it to get the proper to design an software, so which is actually now linked up with the mobile application as well. So we are establishing a system. We invited all the relevant people, especially the emergency responders, through disaster management authority. They are now very much cooperative, and they actually are looking for this as well. So the next level, as I told you, that we are going to increase the emergency response force throughout the province so that we can reach people, because you know the mega flood 2010 has affected 7 districts of this province. So we are bringing in all these district branches and the emergency response forces to link with it. And secondly, we have a very huge disaster management and logistics center at national headquarters, which is always our Sindh branch management is always asking the other branches that if the DMLC, which we call the Disaster Management and Logistics Center, has no legs, in the branches. So we actually also enforcing them that if the provincial branches has the similar sort of structure and the digitalized things to make the quick decisions and to respond promptly. So that would be the very good initiative from our branch. So we are on the footing to enhance capacity and to scale up all these efforts which we have made so far. And this small scale intervention had put us especially on to the to think about that what is next level. We are there, Lucy. We are thinking about increasing ourselves.
Good
Right?
to hear.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sajjad. We have only 3 more minutes left. I just wanted to address a couple more things, and then I'm more than happy to hang out if for whoever would wish to stay longer, and we can continue answering questions. But very quickly, just flagged a few things. Catalina added the information on small grants as well as criteria. This changes a bit year to year depending on who is supporting the small grants and what kind of lens that comes with. So this year's small grants awards are going to Nepal Red Cross with a focus on urban flood resilience supported by Zafra. That's the Zurich Flood Resilience, Zurich Urban Flood Resilience Alliance. And then we've got special resilience climate youth awards that are going to Vanuatu Red Cross, Lao Red Cross, and Bangladesh Red Crescent. You can read all about their award-winning proposals and what they intend to do on the website. Justin, you also asked where you can read more on these amazing Small Grants 1 projects from our colleagues at Mongolia Red Cross and Pakistan Red Crescent. So these knowledge products are currently under finalization. Nothing to be embarrassed about. I saw that in the lessons learned in terms of we couldn't have helped COVID, and that of course took priority. So, and also created a few sizable challenges for our colleagues. And so these knowledge products are under finalization. We will let you know through the Urban Hub network when we have them under our resources page, when we've got the videos posted on the YouTube Hub link. So watch this space for more. And then last but not least, I sent the Urban Galaxy series. So there you can follow all of the Planet Red events with an urban lens. Please do join colleagues throughout the remaining sessions. They're really all so, I know I'm going to learn a lot. I'm sure we'll all learn a lot. And then this is, of course, a drum roll for the Urban Collaboration Platform, which is going to be November 24th to the 26th. This is co-organized by IFRC and the German Red Cross virtually. Registration has yet to open, but I will also share those details through the Urban Hub network. And those will, of course, be shared through the Urban Collaboration Platform network as well. So really excited to have you join us at the remaining events as well. Just looking to see if anyone has any further questions for our colleagues. Very rather shy audience. I hope you're still all with us. Yes, and please feel free to always reach out to the Urban Hub and to me. Okay, so we'll say goodbye to a few people. Undram, I had a question for you actually, while I have you. So recognizing we are really in a time where, cities are sharing populations, urban, rural populations, they're fluid. And I know that Mongolia Red Cross also has the FBF Tsud Anticipation Project to really prevent livestock mortality and morbidity rates by acting early based on a forecast. how are these two projects connected, if at all?
Yeah, as you said, we have been implementing the FBF project since 2017, as I think, as I know, and then since then we have also developed early action protocol since last year, and then we have supported many herders to improve their livelihood before the zoot happened during the winter time. So for the question, we have cooperated with the disaster management program to have some information, actually to get some information about the families who migrated to the migrated from the rural to urban area, and then we get the data from them, actually. Like we check that we did check the double check of the family who lost their livestock to the zoo, because they do have some data from the National Emergency Management Agency to our disaster management program, and then we have received some data from them.
Thanks so much. On the subject of data, I wanted to also hand the mic back to Sajjad and the Pakistan team. I mean, tell us a bit more in terms of like, where do you start when you're really trying to digitize? When you shared your presentation, we see this evolution of your digitization in Karachi. But where do you start with really creating this whole app and the digitized EOC mechanism? What's your advice for National Society colleagues joining us today?
Yeah, thank you, Lucy. Actually, our provincial secretary at Sindh branch, he has a huge experience behind him. More than 35 years he has been here. So he had been visiting different places, like in I think Iran has a very good emergency operations center, or you can say the control room sort of thing for the disaster management. So he was always thinking about that, and we have found someone who was actually making some softwares for the Pakistan Air Force and the Army. So their control rooms were being built by these guys. So we put together the hardware and software, and we spent the provincial headquarters itself spent a lot of money. And German Red Cross actually was working on. You must have seen the UDRT in my presentation, where German Red Cross came in, and they started funding on urban programs. Nowadays we are using the UAK. We are piloting one project here in Karachi, and previously my boss brought German Red Cross from the rural part of one improving community resilience named.
I'm just going to interrupt you and say that UAK is the Urban Action Kit for those that don't know.
Okay, sorry. Urban Action Kit. That's a very good thing. I can speak on that as well, because I have started working on it, and we are on ground. We have kicked off the project, and we have additional funding even in that. So for 6 months, I think we will be able to show you something that we have tried many parts of the Urban Action Kit, which is recently we have received, and we are very happy to see that, because previously we were looking for what sort of interventions we have to have in the urban settings, shifting from the rural and traditional responses. Anyway, being an experienced person with the PMER, I can say that the data and the information is very important. So we started surveying our city, because so far Pakistan is not that good in having the information and data with the government or the other organizations. So everybody is working on it, but we started gathering information of the critical locations, like schools, madrasas, and the places where people gathered. And during the disasters, you always have to focus where the most of the people are there, and we have to focus on these things. So we wrote to the intelligence agencies, we talked to the police, and we talked to the fire brigades and other people. And there were some small efforts from the government as well. They have one coordination system at commissioner's office in Karachi, so we visited them as well. So we thought that the data and the information to be put on the web-based map will help us to guide our teams if they have to respond quickly to these places. So we have to look at these things. And I have been in I think in 2012 or 13 for RMS, resource mapping system. The federation was trying to bring in this system, so that this was also web-based software. So in Vietnam, I had been a part of this training, resource mapping system, but unfortunately, so far, PRCS was not able to get that technology or the application or software. So we started in our branch, and we have got, at least we are in the middle of the capacity building and upbringing all these things. So data is very important, especially the where you don't get the secondary data from the government departments or the other people. So that's how we started actually.
Thanks so much. In terms of, in terms of also gathering data or more information on risk, we talk a lot about, for the urban context, and it will be a whole theme of the urban collaboration platform. We talk a lot about this concept of hidden vulnerabilities, which goes back to as well what Undram you mentioned. There's a lot of also documentation work that goes into your livelihood projects in urban areas. And you spoke explicitly on IDPs, but I wonder if you could share a bit more, if you're still with us. I see you're frozen. I hope you're still with us. I wonder if you could share a bit more about that process of really addressing documentation for migrants and the displaced within your work.
Okay, so actually we don't have like big studies or research which have done among the internal migrants and like in it's just like migrants. And but UN, International Organization for Migration, they have done the recent research among their vulnerability research among the internal migrants who migrating to Ulaanbaatar, not only to Ulaanbaatar, but they are like migrating from rural to rural, rural to urban, urban to rural, urban to urban, something like that. And but is it like from government side, for they don't have this kind of big data and big researches and big surveys. So for Mongolia now we are working on to have some policies on internal migration and to establish some government agency which focusing on the issues related to internal migrants, because of the Zud disaster, because of the urbanization, the internal migration issue is the big challenge for us, especially in Ulaanbaatar city, for example, like air pollution and traffic jam, something like that. There are so many following challenges we are facing as a urban citizen, or also for the people who are coming to Ulaanbaatar city. Yeah, so as a national society, we are involving in the working group to establish this government government agency to focus on the issues, and also we are involving in the working group to develop the internal migration policy. Yeah.
Thanks.
And then also in the national society, we are focusing on to have some like migration programming, which focus on the more activities and more implementation for the internal migrants and its issues.
Do we have any further questions from the audience? No further questions. I have one more question, Catalina. If we don't have questions on Menti.
No, Lucy, we don't have any questions on Menti so far.
Okay. I don't believe all of you. I'm sure you have plenty of questions. So go ahead, Sajjad. I see your hand is raised.
I think if no one is interested in asking questions, just play our video.
Oh, yes, true. Let us then end with this wonderful video from Pakistan Red Crescent.
Sorry, Lucy. Dino has raised his hand.
This is also Sajjad's other alter ego. He signed on 2 devices, I believe. Right?
You're doing okay.
So yeah, if you're all still with us and ready, I absolutely love this fantastic video of the simulation. So thanks for reminding. I think that's a really good way to conclude for now. Do please continue to visit the Urban Hub website. Shoot me a message if you're not part of the Urban Hub network so that I can keep you posted on when we get our beautiful shiny knowledge products completed so that you have all of the amazing learnings consolidated in products you can revisit over and over again. Catalina, are you ready to show the simulation video?
Yeah. Sharing it now.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, I think I'm not sharing the screen yet, but the audio. Give me a sec. You hear? No.
Yep. Thanks, Minnie.
Oh. Sorry.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, जागो पाकिस्तान। जी जी, क्या हुआ? ज़लज़ले के झटके? बिल्डिंग गिरी है? किस जगह पे? आप वहाँ पे लोकेशन पे हो? अच्छा, आप पहुँचो लोकेशन पे और मुझे अपडेट दो। हम इमरजेंसी रिस्पांस टीम भेज रहे हैं वहाँ पे रिस्पांस करने के लिए। अस्सलाम वालेकुम, ट्रांसपोर्ट डिपार्टमेंट। जी, अभी इत्तला आई है कि कराची के मुख्तलिफ इलाकों में ज़लज़ले के झटके हैं, बिल्डिंग गिरने की भी इत्तला है। तो आप फौरी तौर पर 3 एम्बुलेंसेस तैयार रखें, हम इमरजेंसी रिस्पांस टीम के साथ आ रहे हैं।
The Pakistan Red Crescent Sindh has a network of emergency response force in all of the districts of Karachi. On occurrence of any emergency, normally the local volunteers inform the Disaster Management Department at PHQ for help.
यहाँ पर हमारे पास जो सबसे बड़ा काम हमारा वॉलंटियर्स मैनेजमेंट में है, इमरजेंसी डिजास्टर रिस्पांस है। यानी अर्बन डिजास्टर रिस्पांस का एक हमने इमरजेंसी ऑपरेशन सेंटर बहुत बड़ा बनाया है, जो अपने वक्त की एक बड़ी यूनिक और बड़ा स्टेट ऑफ आर्ट सेंटर हमने बनाया है यहाँ पर, जिसके तहत हम कोई भी अर्बन डिजास्टर को डील करने के काबिल हुए हैं। उसके तहत हमारे पास तमाम डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के अंदर उनके दफातर खुले हुए हैं। उसके अंदर हम वॉलंटियर्स को लोकली एनरोल करते हैं, वहाँ ट्रेन करते हैं और वहाँ की असेसमेंट करते हैं, ताकि हमारे पास वक्त से पहले मालूमात हो कि वहाँ पर क्या चल रहा है।
In case of big disaster, the Emergency Operations Center is immediately activated. All the concerned departmental heads immediately take over the EOC and connect themselves to the field.
कैजुअल्टीज कितनी हुई हैं जल्दी बताओ। हमारे वॉलंटियर्स कितने पहुंचे? 4 एम्बुलेंस तो जा चुकी हैं। हाँ, दूसरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट के लड़कों को भी वहां पर भिजवाओ फौरी तौर पे। सज्जाद, लॉजिस्टिक तैयार है, थोड़ा सा सामान जो हमने स्ट्रेचर और फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स उन्होंने और मंगवाए थे वो भी जल्दी से भिजवा दें। डॉक्टर साहब, फायर टीम तैयार है आपकी, प्लीज जरा उनको डिस्पैच कर दें फौरी तौर पे। 4 एम्बुलेंसें और चाहिए, बाकी लड़के भी मुझे चाहिए। जहाँ पर कितने कैजुअल्टी की तादाद, कौन कौन से हॉस्पिटल में गए हैं वो भी मुझे चाहिए।
The emergency response teams are well equipped to deploy within 5 to 10 minutes.
मुझे आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है, हम आपकी मदद के लिए आए हैं। अगर आप तक मेरी आवाज आ रही है तो जवाब दें।
डिजास्टर सेंटर है इस्लामाबाद में, बहुत बड़ा सेंटर है। वो सेंटर कनेक्टेड है यहाँ पर हमारे ईओसी के साथ, इमरजेंसी ऑपरेशन सेंटर के साथ सूबों में। और फिर हम लोग जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में हमारा डीएम सेल होता है, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट सेल बने हुए हैं। तो ये ईओसी सेंटर बेसिकली डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट सेंटर्स के साथ, वहाँ उनके जो एम्प्लॉयज़ है उनके साथ इन टच होता है। और ये पूरी एक इस्लामाबाद से लेकर डिस्ट्रिक्ट ब्रांच तक और यूसी तक पूरी चेन बनी हुई है जो हम इमरजेंसीज में काम करते हैं। अभी हमारी जो टीमें वहाँ पर काम कर रही हैं उनकी गाय बगाहे हमारे पास मिनट टू मिनट रिपोर्ट्स तो आ रही हैं, मगर मुझे सिर्फ ये बताइए कि जो हमें अभी इतलात आ रही हैं उसमें पता ये चल रहा है कि कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं कि जो शायद काफ़ी घंटों तक वहाँ दबे रहें, क्योंकि अभी वहाँ पर ऐसे इक्विपमेंट नहीं पहुँचे हैं कि जो उनको हटा सकें। अच्छा मुनीर साहब, ये बताइए इस वक्त एम्बुलेंसेस की और गाड़ियों की क्या पोजीशन है, कितने डिस्पैच हो चुकी हैं और कितनी यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं?
सर हमारी 4 एम्बुलेंसेस डिस्पैच हो चुकी हैं जो है हॉस्पिटल पहुँच चुकी हैं। बाकी जो कुछ एम्बुलेंसेस हैं जो रूट की वजह से प्रॉब्लम में हैं
कैजुअलिटीज हमारी लेकर जा रही हैं जाए हादसे पे लोग, उनके साथ कोई टीमें वहाँ रुक रही हैं हॉस्पिटल में, और अगर रुक रही हैं तो वो डेटा कलेक्ट कर रही है कि नहीं?
हमारे पास वॉलंटियर्स की टीम जो है वो वहाँ ऑलरेडी हमने हॉस्पिटल में डिप्लॉय की हुई है, जिसमें से हमने 4 वॉलंटियर्स हमने खिलाड़ी किए हैं डिप्लॉय, और सिविल में हमने 4 वॉलंटियर्स डिप्लॉय किए हैं। इसी तरह से हमने नासिक स्टेट में भी 4 वॉलंटियर्स डिप्लॉय किए हैं।
आप मीडिया के साथ इन टच हैं?
जी सर, हमने ऑलरेडी यहाँ से जो हमारी रिस्पॉन्स है उसके बाद हमने मीडिया को इन्फॉर्म किया, और इसके अलावा हमारा मीडिया डिपार्टमेंट जो है वो इन सारी केसेस को मॉनिटर भी कर रहा है और हथियारों की खैरियत मालूम करने के लिए। तो क्या हमारे जो वॉलंटियर्स हैं वो इस सिलसिले में आपने कुछ डिप्लॉय किए हैं या कुछ हेल्प डेस्क बनाई है वहाँ पे? जो जरूरी है हॉस्पिटल जो इसका भी हम और जो हमारा हेल्प लाइन नंबर है हमने अपने मीडिया डिपार्टमेंट के जरिए उनको भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया हुआ है।
Moreover, our volunteers also try to locate the family members of the wounded person to inform about the incident. They also collect the personal data of the causality to be able to provide help if they need. The constant follow-up is also maintained to provide help if needed.
हमारा जो बेसिक काम है, जो ज़रूरतमंद लोग होते हैं उनकी मदद करने के लिए, मदद जो है वो 2 किस्म की होती है। एक मदद तो होती है ऐसे वक्त में जब कि कोई कैलेमिटी आई हो, कोई बहुत बड़ा किसी किस्म की हो, चाहे वो ज़लज़ला हो या वो फ्लड हो या और इस किस्म की कई किस्मों की कैलेमिटीज़ होती हैं। कुछ तो नेचुरल होती हैं जो अल्लाह की तरफ से होती हैं, और कुछ जो हैं इंसानी तौर पे बनाई गई होती हैं। तो इसमें लोगों की रेड क्रेसेंट या हिलाल अहमद मदद करता है।
After rescuing the casualties and rendering first aid, they immediately shift the casualties to the nearest hospital and hand over to the medical staff. After handing over the patients, the Pakistan Red Crescent always follow up with the patient to collect the data of his injury and financial position. In case the patient is unable to bear the expenses of the operation or treatment, the Red Crescent help them out in supporting their treatment.
Wow, bravo, bravo. Many thanks. Sajjad, I liked how you referred in your presentation, you referred to the ERFs as contributing to, and the EOC is contributing to the city's nervous system. And I really like that you kind of laid out the hardware and software of what that entails. And similarly, I would say, Undram, in your presentation on behalf of Mongolian Red Cross, you're doing the same in just a very different package, right? So thanks for outlining the urban-rural migration continuum and how sustainable livelihood programming really contributes to the health of the urban nervous system. Many thanks for your small grants, big urban resilience achievements and learnings. I know I learned a ton. I hope participants today also are taking home some learnings today. And please do continue to follow the Urban Hub and revisit the knowledge products that come out of these two really wonderful first small grant projects. And thanks to all for joining. I wish everyone a really wonderful rest of the day. And special thanks, of course, to Undram and to Sajjad and to Catalina for your support.
Thank you.
Bye, all. Thank you.
Thank you for providing us this opportunity to showcase our work.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. We'll be in touch with you.
Super. Thanks. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.